Hi my loves, I hope you're doing amazing today. Welcome or welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I'm Lindsay. My channel is all about self and spiritual development, manifestation, messages from spirit, and a little bit about entrepreneurship. If you are interested in those other resources, you're going to find them in the description box below, as well as my about section. You'll find the class that changed my life, that taught me how to make easy money and gave me my power and my energy back, or my latest creation, which is my money manifestation VORTEX, which helps to dissolve old programs and wounds around money so that you can shift your energy into the most abundant one yet, which is actually who you are naturally. And you really do need both the skill set of working harder, not smarter, as well as the energy shift as well, and doing both together is really how you change your life if you are looking for that more from a financial place. But with that said, today's video is going to be all about how to remain in your power, in your self-love, in your new upgraded level, and protect your self-love and your inner child and your creation, which is you. So let's get into it. So I wanted to make a longer form video that was similar to and kind of went off of the recent short that I did about choosing you, because I feel like it's so worth it to kind of talk about how to navigate your new levels, because new levels, new devils, and just how to really remain in that power so that you don't have to reparent yourself or go backwards really more than necessary, because I am such a big believer that, you know, you should only look back to see how far you've come. And I also feel like it's so relevant to talk about these new levels of yourself when it comes to our relationships and encounters with others. And so that's what this is going to be all about. So I apologize if a little bit of it is going to be repetitive, but again, I'm just going to go into some deeper layers with all of this. So when it comes to dealing with others and navigating your new levels, again, new levels, new devils, you know, as you self-develop and as you reach new heights and new frequencies, it makes you a point of attraction for all kinds of energies and people. And this new energy that you are in, and while it will be your most authentic one yet, it doesn't leave you completely invincible, although that should be your belief. But it's important to understand that, you know, this is not a perfect life, and we are never exempt from being hurt. And when you step into these new energies and these new levels, what you will find is that sometimes it can even make you a target, because now you have that thing that money can't buy, that thing that is irreplaceable. You know, I don't believe that, or I believe that we are moving into this just collectively, that people aren't really envious of money and titles and that agency power anymore. People are really more envy now of, you know, self-power, which is real power. And I came across this incredible Deepak Chopra clip. If you know, you know, he's one of the OGs, and I really get a lot of knowledge from him and just feel like a lot of his messages are really in alignment with my energy. And he was saying that the difference between inspiration and motivation is that motivation is mental, which is actually a weaker energy, whereas inspiration is in spirit. Get it? So that is actually the connectedness to the infinite power, right, that you're feeling. It's what makes you feel fearless. It's what makes you immune to criticism. But again, that's exactly why it draws all kinds of people and energies, and why it is so important that you also balance this feeling of I am invincible, I can do anything, with also your intuition and your discernment, because as you level up, those gifts level up with you, and they are there as tools to help and support you, right? So again, I think that it's really important that, especially when we are dealing with others, that you understand that you're not exempt from being hurt. You are going to draw all kinds of energies, but that intuition and that discernment is there for you. And I'm going to talk about a little bit how to read into that more, right? And really utilize those tools, listen to your body and those voices a bit better, so that you can, move in the world in these new levels from a place of real self-love and protection over your creation, your healed inner child, and from a place of real self-love and not being overly guarded or fearful. That's not the direction that we want to go in, right? So when it comes to others' projections, or even when they have flat out hurt us, I want you to remember that choosing you is easily the most powerful act of self-love that you could achieve. So when someone disrespects you or hurts you, and I mentioned this in my short, so I apologize if it's a little repetitive, but it was talking about this very thing. And it would be like if you got bit by a snake and went and chased down that snake and asked the snake why it bit you. Those answers are empty, and it usually leads to us reinfecting ourselves, when the best thing that we could do is actually go and heal and suck the poison out and actually send them love, even when it's hard. If they're not doing the work, you are already in something, walking in a gift that they haven't received yet. And so that's a really good way to look at it. Not to mention, when you make these choices for yourself, especially when it's hard, you have no idea the energy that you are creating and perpetuating within yourself. This is actually an opportunity to create and even strengthen an energy in you that makes you a point of attraction for respect. If that is something that you want, if you feel like you want more respect for yourself, it is important that you make those choices and choose yourself and do things like going and sucking the poison out rather than chasing down the snake, or even more so than, retaliating in any type of way. You are actually creating this unbelievably powerful energy within you that makes you a point of attraction for energies like respect. And another powerful gift that these moves and choices give you is time. Because every day that you choose you when it's hard, instead of, again, chasing down the snake or doing anything that would give you empty answers or reinfect yourself, is another day that means you are closer to feeling better. You're already whole. It's just that sometimes when we get hurt, we have to heal, right? And so every day that you choose to suck the poison out instead of perpetuating the reinfection, that is another day closer to not only you feeling better, but a chapter where you will be able to look back on that and be like, oh my gosh, like I got through that. I am so strong. I am so proud of myself. I am so worthy. It actually just feeds, every choice just feeds into whatever energy is there, right? And there is always the energy of self-love and wholeness and abundance and dreams and manifestations being realized. It's just that we have to make the choices, especially when it's hard, to really like step into that energy, right? And pull that in rather than the reinfection, right? And so now I want to talk about the way that actually your body speaks to you when it comes to dealing with others, and especially when you are reaching new levels, when you have a brand new creation of self, right? When you are truly walking in self-love and joy and appreciation, which are the most powerful energies on a daily basis that you could embody. And so as you level up again and your intuition and your discernment goes up, your body will start to speak to you more, because you'll just be more connected with yourself on every level. You'll be more connected to your higher self, and your higher self will literally use your physical body in order to help you move and protect your inner child and new creation of self. And so for me, I always feel it in the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra and the throat chakra. So it's pretty much right here in my body that I can feel it when my higher self is speaking to me, when my intuition and my discernment is going off. So for instance, if I come across someone who is not in alignment for me, I will really feel it in those chakras. So I will feel a tightening and a pull in my heart chakra and my solar plexus, and my throat will also get kind of closed up. And so this may be significant for some of y'all. For me, I grew up not having a voice, and now that I have one, it's easy for me to recognize when an energy or a person, place, or thing is not for me, because my throat chakra will act up. It'll get uncomfortable, it'll kind of close up. And I also want to mention too that, this is a little bit of a side message, but still relevant. The things that are based in fear are actually our invitations. And so for me, the fact that, I had a closed throat chakra my whole life actually meant that I was supposed to be using my voice. And also I always had a fear of being seen, but I always also knew that I was supposed to be seen. And so again, those fears are actually clues and invitations. So that's something to pay attention to as well. And again, something that you can feel in your body. But I do think that that is pretty common, that when you are connected to your intuition and your discernment, if things aren't in alignment for you, you will really kind of feel that pull and that closing off in those 3 chakras. And the heart is a really big one too. When we really need the truth of something, go to your heart, okay? We are not really meant to think our way through things, and I think that we are all starting to wake up to this more. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Because our brain is made of duality, which is why sometimes when we try to think our way through things, it can actually just lead to more confusion and more questions, whereas our heart is not built like that. Our heart is not made of duality. So when you are ready for the truth, go to your heart. That is actually where your truth is always. And it's so interesting to me because even the ancient Egyptians knew this, that prior to mummification, the royals, the elite, the wealthy, they would have their brains removed prior to mummification because they knew that they did not need their brains in the afterlife. They didn't do that with the heart, right? So I find that pretty interesting. But so your body will absolutely talk to you. And I think when you've leveled up and you can look back and see where you have ignored your intuition and your discernment, I'd be willing to bet that you would say, I definitely felt it in my gut, your solar plexus. I definitely felt it in my heart. There was some constriction and a pull, and I felt it in my throat chakra. I felt like it kind of took my voice away a little bit, right? And so while it is so easy to dwell. The important thing is to remember the lesson in that going forward, and we're not meant to stay in the past. You only look back to see how far you've come, and you take those lessons as a blessing and let your body speak to you and listen, because it will. And it's just important to remember too that, our inner voices and our intuition and discernment and things like that, it can be a little bit more subtle, and that's why that connection is so important, because it's really the world that screams at us, right? But when we can tap into that silence and our gifts, that's really how we move in the world a bit easier, and again, from a place of healing and self-love and self-worth, and not from a place of fear or past memories, right? And so the last thing that I want to talk about is the importance of loyalty to your desires and your manifestations. Truly, the more loyal that you are to that, to what you truly want, and the less that you abandon yourself, the easier you are going to move through these new levels. It's really easy, for example, like if you start dating, and you really actually have reached a new level, and you've become clear on your desires and your manifestations. You have to stay loyal to that, no matter how strong you feel the connection is. It only makes it harder in the long run. And so I'll just give y'all a personal example. It would be like, for me, if I say really had a strong connection with someone, I really had I'll even take it a step further and say I had some like unexplainable chemistry, but maybe that person partied really hard. If I were to entertain that, it would be abandoning myself. And the ending would still come. It's just that it would be a lot harder and a lot more painful than what was necessary. And I think it's really hard when you are doing the hard work on yourself, because now you then have to go through this, oh my gosh, like I feel like I went so backwards, and you didn't. It's just that, there's an abandonment of self that happened, and that ending still comes because that person, place, or thing is not in alignment, right? And it just makes things harder. And again, sometimes we'll have to reparent ourselves, and even that can be harder sometimes too, because you're like, gosh, like I already did this, and now you're having to deal with those feelings. And again, it still happens, and it's just so important to remember that nothing happened to all of that hard work. It didn't go away, it's just that sometimes we do have to repeat lessons, and that's okay. But of course, we want to minimize that as much as possible, because it is just worth it, and that you've gotten to a point where you are so deserving of maintaining this new energy and receiving all of your manifestations and desires. So the more rooted you are in clarity of what you want, and this is why I talk about, getting clear so much, because the clearer you are on your desires, and the more you tap into your heart, again, because that is the absolute truth inside you of what it is that you want, then the better time that you are going to have as you navigate these new levels, and particularly navigate relationships and connections with others. So it's just so important to remember that there is nothing and no one that is worth your peace or abandonment of self. And the clearer you are you have an opportunity to be so loyal to your manifestations and your desires. And again, you may really connect with certain people, places, and things because your frequency has gone up, which means, again, you're going to be a point of attraction for all kinds of energies, but it doesn't mean that they are in alignment for you. So choose you, choose your desires and your manifestations no matter what, and stay rooted in that, stay loyal to that. You don't have to settle. Literally anything is possible for you. You don't ever have to abandon yourself, no matter how much you are connecting. Live your life, but live your life from a place of absolute loyalty to your desires and manifestations. And that also is a language of the universe, right? That absolutely speaks to your belief in your worthiness of what exactly it is that you want. And the clearer you are, the easier it's going to be to be loyal and script all of that. Like, it really helps, y'all. It really helps with the clarity if you are still needing some clarity there, and spend some time with your heart as well. So I really hope that this video was helpful. As always, I am just so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for being here and making this such a we thing and such a beautiful, high vibrational community. And I just love each and every one of you so much. Please let me know what you think in the comments if you have anything to add. I love hearing from y'all. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one.